So I have a story. So here's what happened yesterday. I slept through my 8 o'clock alarm, and then when my 8:15 alarm went off, since it was the first alarm I'd heard that morning, I assumed it was a Tuesday or a Thursday, which meant I didn't have to get up for my 8:15 alarm. So I turned it off and went back to sleep, entirely missing my 9 o'clock class. Woke up at 10:30 because one of my really good friends called me in tears and was having a family emergency crisis, terrible life-altering event. And so she came over, and we cried and talked and dealt with that for a couple of hours, which was exhausting, but Jesus, he fixes things. After she left, I went and grabbed my lunch and came back here and still had to do my reading for my Western Civ class, which was about the Holocaust. So I was eating and reading about Jews being slaughtered, which was depressing. Then, right before I went to my 1 o'clock class, I got really sick, and I was nauseous, and my head hurt, and my stomach hurt, and I had back cramps, and it was terrible. But I was like, I'll be fine, I'm just gonna go to class anyway. And so I go to my 1 o'clock class, thinking, I'll bring some ibuprofen, I have my book for my 3 o'clock class, I'll just sit in the lounge and read and, power through. It'll be great. It's gonna be fine. It was not fine. I went to my 1 o'clock class, and of course we're talking about the Holocaust, so everybody's really like, nah. And it was a good talk, I learned lots of things, but it was depressing, and I felt crappier and crappier and crappier. So then I go to the lounge to read for my class, thinking still, I'm just gonna power through, I can do this. Get in my backpack, and my book for my 3 o'clock class is not in there. So I didn't have the chapters to read for my 3 o'clock literature class. So I go back to my dorm thinking, I'll grab the book, I'll read, I'll take some ibuprofen, go back to class, it's gonna be fine. Get to the lounge, sit down, and I could not stand back up. So I was like, you know what, I've only missed the class once this semester, I'll just miss the class even though I'm missing it again tomorrow. No one tell Dr. Martin. So I go to my room and lay down and try and not feel like crap unsuccessfully and moped about my life for like 2 hours. Then I got up and had to go to my guitar rehearsal. There were 4 girls in my guitar study group. One of them we forgot to tell. The other one was walking a dog, of all things, Allie. What? And so it was just me and Kayleen. So we go to our guitar classroom where we always have class because that's what we normally practice because there's music stands and nonsense in there. And there's people like coming out because it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and there's stuff going on in there, I guess. And the guy who's coming out was like, no, music lab just ended, you're fine, go ahead. So we go in and set up our stuff, and one of the girls that we both know walks in, and she's super friendly and nice. And so when she asked us what we were doing in there, we thought she was just being friendly. And she was like, oh, well, we have jazz band rehearsal in here. And we're like, oh, well, we checked the room schedule and you're not on it. She said, no, but it's an extra rehearsal. You guys can stay in here if you want. And Kayleen and I just looked at each other like, well, that would be really awkward. So she told us there was another practice room we could use. And so we walked down the hall and we did one of those like sneaky, like open the door really slow and like peek your head in things. And there were people in there, which was awkward. So then we went and worked in the tiny little study room in Livingston First. And it was tiny and cramped, and we both felt like we sucked really bad, so it was really discouraging, which was wonderful. And then I went to work. And of course, I'm still feeling terrible and sick and gross, but I had to go to work because it wasn't contagious, I just didn't feel good. I took some ibuprofen before I went in for my shift, thinking that would make it better, and it didn't. I hate medicine. So I get to work, and Wednesday nights are usually pretty chill because there's Ecclesia, which is our evening chapel, and so there's nobody coming in to get food for a couple of hours, so we can get ahead on things and clean and prep stuff for the next day and all of those nice things. Well, last night there wasn't any Ecclesia, so there were people in there all night long. And not just like, there'd be a rush of people and then we have 20 minutes where we didn't have anyone. Every 5 minutes, one person, just one person would walk up and want to order something, and so we'd have to go and like get everything together and ring them up and whatever, and you'd have to stop whatever you were doing, which is fine. I mean, we're here to serve and everything, but it was just really frustrating. Also, there's usually 3 of us who work Pandinis on Wednesday nights, me and Josue and Ben, but for some reason, Ben was over on Subconnection, so it was just me and Josue, which is fine, because Josue and I are both good workers, but it was just hard because we didn't have the normal break that we have. And Josue only went on break for 10 minutes, and I felt really bad for him. It was sad. So I went on my break at like 9, and I was miserable, and I was like, I hate my life. I just want to go to sleep. I don't want to be here anymore. And I couldn't eat anything because my stomach hurt really bad, and so I like picked at my pasta a little bit. So I just kind of sat there, and I was like scrolling on Pinterest and Twitter and all that stuff, trying to like stay occupied for a half hour till I went back to work. And somebody posted a little like inspirational picture that had the lyrics to In Christ Alone on it. And so I start like humming, and I'm like, I really like that song. And so instead of doing whatever else I was doing on the internet, which was probably pointless, I pulled up the lyrics to In Christ Alone, and I sat there and sang the hymn like 4 times. Alone, in the booth, with people looking at me funny. But you know what? I felt better. I really did. I went back to work and I asked my boss for some more ibuprofen and she got me some. And I took some more pills and made myself a smoothie and I hummed Christ Alone all night long and it made me feel better. So I guess moral of the story is, even when your day is crappy, sometimes you just gotta let Jesus hug you and it makes life better. So that's my story. And now I'm gonna go take a shower and go watch Sherlock with Mallory because she's decided I can't live without watching Sherlock. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.